Women often say, living a beautiful life is so hard. Well, let me tell you, us guys face the same struggles. I'm taller than most, way taller. And naturally, I've always been drawn to girls who are tall, smart, and beautiful. The first two weren't too hard to find, but the third. In our small town, that was a different story. So, I ended up marrying Avery. She was tall, gorgeous, but well, not the sharpest tool in the shed. She came from a poor family, and her parents just couldn't provide the education she needed. At the time, I thought, I can handle this. But Avery, she didn't seem all that eager to step up. And so, after we got married, all the household responsibilities just quietly shifted onto my shoulders. She did work, I'll give her that, but she didn't exactly turn into some annoying, nagging wife. Overall, things weren't perfect, but they weren't disastrous either. Then, everything changed in one day. I was on my way home from work when I got a text. "I'm leaving you." Something about that message made me snap. I rushed home faster than I ever thought possible. When I got there, I saw an expensive foreign car parked outside and a guy, who looked way too smug, sitting inside, shouting on the phone like he owned the world. When he saw me, he grinned and flipped me off through the window. Inside the house, Avery was packing her things. I grabbed her by the elbow, but before I could even speak, she punched me straight in the throat. Yeah, the same move I had taught her back when we were dating. I choked, fell to the floor, and she just squatted down beside me. "Did the owner leave the bunny?" she taunted, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Then she actually laughed, really laughed, in my face. That's when the anger hit me hard. How could I ever have loved her? Where had my head been? Sure, she had a pretty face, but it didn't matter anymore. Her ugliness on the inside was shining through, and it made her look worse than ever. "Yeah, definitely a witch," I muttered, shaking my head. "Aw, come on, stop whining," she sneered. "There's gonna be puddles on the floor soon." Then she grabbed my face and shook me like I was some rag doll. "You're finally gonna be free of me," she said, her voice mocking. "I don't see any joy in your eyes." "Yeah, I'm just thrilled," I muttered, my face twisting in disgust. I had to swat Avery's hands away from my face, desperate to get some space. My upbringing told me to be a gentleman, to rise above it all. But damn, in that moment I just wanted to throw manners out the window and grab a belt. "And if the bunny gets all bratty and goes for divorce, she'll sue your barn floor," Avery said, grinning like she'd just delivered a killer punchline. "I'll file it myself once Aiden and his wife get their divorce," she added casually. "You're an idiot," I snapped. "Men don't leave wives for mistresses." But she was too busy wrenching the suitcase zipper to listen. Then a car honked outside, and that was it. My little wife, all smiles, dashed out of the door and into the car, leaving behind a cloud of overpriced perfume. I didn't bother with the divorce papers. Honestly, her leaving hit me harder than I expected. I sank into a pit of depression and spent most of my time drinking away the emptiness. At work, I would count down the hours until I could get home and crack open a bottle. 6 months went by in a haze, and Avery, she disappeared off the map, probably living it up on her lover's yacht somewhere or lounging at some fancy resort. And then life started to get better. I met a girl, nothing like Avery. She was grounded, the opposite of everything I had left behind. But revenge, that came later. Turns out, Avery hadn't changed her address. And yes, she was still receiving mail. One day, I found a letter from the tax office addressed to her. I let it sit on the bedside table for 3 days. 5 times I picked up my phone, almost ready to report it. But by the 4th day, curiosity won out. What I found was quite the surprise. The letter was about taxes, 2 cars and an apartment in the city center. I had totally misjudged Avery's lover. Apparently, he transferred everything into my idiot wife's name, just to avoid splitting it in the divorce. I don't know what he thought was going to happen, but it was dumb. Really dumb. Looks like it was time to open a new front in this battle. That letter went straight into the trash. The very next day, I filed for divorce. I won't bore you with the court drama, but we fought over my wife's boyfriend stuff for what felt like forever. And yeah, the shed, as Avery had so lovingly called it, got divided too. In the end, I walked away with a car and half of the cash from Aiden's city apartment sale. Avery was gone, first by Aiden's doing, then by mine. I had to change my number at one point. She started off crying on the phone, then moved on to threats, and eventually just pure rage. The new wife wasn't too fond of these calls, so one day she grabbed the phone and laid into Avery with all kinds of insults. It was a little cathartic, I'll admit. I was reminded of all this recently when I ran into Avery at the market. She was selling nylon tights. I couldn't help myself. I told her, "You need to study something. Don't just stay at home, wasting away."